I want to divorce my husband and I feel guilty about it. We're almost 2 years married and we're both very young. There were a few things before the wedding that made me unsure, nothing too alarming, but I still felt uncertain. I convinced myself I was just having cold feet, because after everything we'd been through, how could he not be the one? Our story felt too perfect to not end in us being married and soulmates forever. The wedding and the honeymoon was everything we could ever dream of, but when we got back home, reality hit. There have been many things that have led me to be where I am today, but I'll try to summarize it as the story is very long. He locked me out of our house from 11 p.m. till about 3 a.m., then pretended he wasn't in there when I saw him in there through the window after his parents, my parents, and I knocked and called his name for hours. He mocked me while I was crying after an argument on our anniversary trip. He's hid in the room with my phone with the door locked, and when I asked for it back he threw it instead of handing it to me. He asked for a divorce while we were on a trip to see my family I hadn't seen in over 15 years, because I wasn't giving him enough attention. He threatened to walk out of a road trip he knew I needed him for. I found a history of him watching half-naked girls, and when I confronted him about it he said, "What are you gonna do about it?" He threatened to leave my small dog out of the house one night, when I left for a drive after an argument. And many other things here and there. After all this, it's fair to say, I started seeing him differently, and the love I felt for him turned into resentment for all these things. I couldn't comprehend how he could do things like these to someone he loves. It's been incredibly hard to wrap my head around all this and to believe he loves and cares for me after everything that's happened. How is that possible? At first, it took a while to even accept to myself that maybe we weren't going to work out. I couldn't even allow myself to think about it, much less say it out loud. We both got marriage counseling and therapy. We both come from religious families, and I was constantly being told that we needed to make it work and try harder, but how could I? After all this, how could I still want to be with him? When things would happen, I'd tell him if things like these kept going on we couldn't be together, but he never changed his actions. After months, I finally served him divorce and he cried, and cried and cried and promised me change. For the last couple weeks, I see him trying incredibly hard. All of a sudden he's everything I needed him to be before. He tends to me, listens and does everything to please me. But I just don't feel the same anymore. The thought of staying together fills me with uncertainty and anxiety, just thinking he might go back to the way he was before. I didn't say everything, but things got so bad I felt he lacked empathy and was a narcissist. It was bad. I don't dream of a life together anymore. Thinking of having kids together makes me feel so uncertain and anxious again. I feel like I'm gone from everything that happened before. I don't feel in love anymore. I don't feel like kissing him or being intimate with him anymore. All this has me unable to sleep at night and with more anxiety than I've ever experienced before in my life. I just know I'm not myself anymore. We are each other's firsts, and he was my first boyfriend, so I'm attached. The thought of leaving is somehow calming and freeing, although extremely heartbreaking, and the thought of staying feels safe, because I won't be out of my comfort zone by starting over, but I can't imagine staying in a marriage I'm not happy in and looking back 30 years from now wishing I would have left, and possibly find love the way I want to be loved. And I'm left wondering, is this normal? Do all marriages go through this? Should I stick it through and reignite our love? Do I need to forgive him and move on for the sake of our marriage? It's just so hard letting go and starting over when I thought I had my life figured out.